Hello, it's me again, Derek Walker. Thought it was time to make another video. I'm sitting here in Aotearoa in the Tauranga Moana, or the Bay of Plenty in New Zealand, on a nice sunny day after we've had a few days of rain. Just sitting by the water. You may be able to hear it lapping in the video. I wanted to talk about nature. Well, I'll start before that actually. I've got all these topics that I want to do videos on, just to provide information about the journey that I've been on, and maybe some ideas for other people, who knows. But when I sat down and tried to work through the topics, I had my intention of going out and doing those topics. But then my intuition kicked in and said, but hang on, what's underlying all of the things that I'm trying to talk about? And it told me that I needed to talk about nature. The branches, the leaves, the water, the rock, the sand, the soil, the air. And I thought, well, that's an interesting topic. I don't really know much about nature apart from I live in it every day, and it's what helps us survive. But just from my own learnings and experience, I do know that nature plays a role in the development of the human. And a lot of the indigenous cultures pay respects to the earth and everything, the nature, to everything when they are doing ceremony. And so they can call it Mother Earth, they can call it Gaia, they can call it whatever they want in their indigenous language. But it's the thing that holds us. Without the earth, without the atmosphere, the air, we wouldn't be alive. And where that came to for me was that in order for me to be healthy, I need to be in nature. So I've had two significant ailments, diseases, injuries. I'm not sure of the terminology because it labels things, which is useful in some regards but not in others. But with the head injuries and the recent diagnosis, what I did do intuitively, without really thinking too much about it, was when they first occurred, I went to nature. That was my first place. So when I first got injured, I was living in Auckland, in the North Island of New Zealand. I was working in the corporate world. Everything's really busy. There's cars everywhere, there's people everywhere, there's pressures everywhere, there's stresses. My brain couldn't function, so when I was in an environment, if somebody wanted to talk to me or walk past me, I'd feel nauseous because my brain couldn't process what was going on. So I can't do this. I can't live in the city and heal while this is going on. So I was fortunate in that I was able to go and live on my parents' property, which was in nature. It was 7.5 acres of land in the lower Kaimai range of Tauranga, where I'm from. So I spent the next 4 months just sitting on the deck of this property, looking out across the ocean. It had pretty splendid views, and breathing. Not trying to put pressure onto my life, not trying to solve everything, just recognising I'm in a pretty dire situation. How do I get through this? And that was nature, slowing down. I started to slowly do manual tasks. I built a little pen for some piglets that we had. It wasn't an onerous job. I did it with my father, and I didn't do very much. Maybe if I was lucky, I'd do half an hour a day. But it's all part of the process of healing. It was a project to get me occupied and plan out and that sort of thing. But I started to go and sit with the trees. I was just there enjoying nature and the fresh air. The fresh air is huge for me. I'm assuming it's huge for everybody, but for me in my process it was very important. Then when my diagnosis came in October of 2018, my parents now live on the Aotearoa Peninsula. This is where I am at the moment. And I was staying with them, and I went for a walk. And I came down here and walked along the waterfront. This is an esplanade. It goes right off here, off to my left here, and off towards the boat club and the boat ramp. And I walked around the peninsula, but I took my shoes off to ground, to feel the earth. And when I'm walking here in nature, I get that peace inside of me, that calmness. I can feel the beauty of nature, the healing qualities of it. And I'd walk slowly. Not particularly focusing on anything in particular, just allowing my thoughts to come to me. If they're there, address them. If they're not, just let them flow. And having my feet touch the ground were really important, because I started to feel more centered. And now this is a very subjective term, I guess, in terms of science versus spirituality and stuff. But it's something the indigenous races around the world have known for eons. That our body needs to connect with the earth. We need to ground. You'll hear it, grounding. You'll hear these new age gurus online saying you need to go and wear bare feet on the ground, touch the earth. Now I'd say yes you do, but be cautious. If you're in a public environment or you're in a city or something, be careful about what you don't wear on your feet, or what you do wear on your feet. No, sorry, I'll say that again. Be careful where you don't wear bare feet. If you're into an environment full of urine and that sort of thing, don't wear bare feet. If you're in nature on a beach or in a park or something like that, yes, wear bare feet. But be careful where they spray pesticides and herbicides to control nature, because those toxins will go in through your feet into your body. Scientists may prove me wrong, but from my understanding with essential oils, everything that goes on your skin you absorb. Sunscreen. So nature's really important. It's important for me. I grew up in Oropi, which is in the Bay of Plenty, and I grew up on an orchard, a kiwi fruit orchard, but we got to run around in bare feet in the orchard every day. And I left that orchard when I was about 13. You know, I went to school and started to wear shoes on our feet, but I used to wear sandals as much as I could, so at lunchtime I could get my sandals off and go and run around with the rest of the guys and play rugby or whatever. And I felt really good. When I went to university, I couldn't afford a pair of shoes, so for the first 5 months and through the winter, I wore bare feet. Tough on the feet because I was walking on gravel footpaths to get to university, but also drew a lot of stares from people. Maybe my own interpretations of what those views of people or opinions those people held, but I was good. I felt good. When I started working in my chosen career in Auckland as a chartered accountant, that I started to wear shoes all the time. And when I look back, I just noted a gradual decline in my health over that period. I wasn't connecting to nature. If I went out to nature, I was going to go mountain biking, I was going skiing, I was hiking. But all these things in my mindset required me to go and buy a whole lot of gear to go and do this. So mountain biking, I've got all the gear, and I don't really connect with nature because you're zooming around. I'm in nature, and there's a healing benefit from that. But my feet never touch the ground because I've got shoes on. And then when I was skiing, obviously you're wrapped up in your gear. Now, just being in the mountains with your ski gear on and sitting there quietly at the top of a run is pretty magic. It really is. But once again, unless you fall over, you're not really touching the snow, you're not really touching the environment around you, and generally you're not spending enough time just going into nature. Whether you call it meditation or just being still or walking with nature, we don't really spend much time in that. So I got separated from the environment. Also, I was living in the city as opposed to living in the country in a rural environment, and that was a difference for me. I moved to Canada, and I love Canada. I think it's one of the most amazing places. I lived in Alberta for a number of years, and what I found there was in the summertime, it's a magic place to be. But in the winter time, because it's so cold, you spend so much of your time inside, and to go outside is a bit of an ordeal. You've got to put all your gear on and go. Now, Canadians are hearty people, but as a New Zealander, where I've grown up with a lot of sun, I found it very difficult. My body wasn't as healthy as it should be. Now, Calgary in Alberta gets a lot of sun, but it's minus 40 sometimes, so it's not the same sun I get here in New Zealand, where it's, probably ranges from about 5 to 30 in New Zealand, from 5 degrees centigrade in the summertime, in the wintertime, to 30 degrees in the summertime, which is extreme in New Zealand. But I also don't have to wear many clothes. I got a t-shirt on and a pair of shorts. That's my uniform here. And even in the wintertime, you can often wear a pair of shorts and a t-shirt. You don't need much else. If it's get cold, you put a jumper on and maybe a beanie. South Island's a bit different. It's a bit more like the top of the UK where it's very cold. But down there, they do get 0 degrees and hoarfrost and stuff. It's very cold. But we don't have the same coldness. But what it allows us to do in New Zealand is to get outside. Outside, outside, outside. You can even see I got bare feet now just because I want to go walking on the beach and be unencumbered. Part of the reason coming home from Canada was that I needed to get healthy again. I didn't feel like I could ever be fully healthy there with the winters. They were just too hard on me. After my 5th winter I was struggling. Something wasn't right. When I came home, the sun, the air, the helicopter, all made me feel a lot better. So when I got diagnosed, just walking here in October last year, I spent a lot of time walking around, and now I wear bare feet as much as I can around the house, out and about, on the beach and walking in the evenings. I met a woman last year who took me on a walk up a river, and she's very natural in her approach to life. Doesn't take a lot of stuff with her when she goes hiking because she doesn't need it, and wears bare feet, and that to me is really impressive. And I'd always worn bare feet when I was growing up. So anyway, I made a decision, I'm going to wear more bare feet wherever I go. Bare feet and connect with the earth that's in me. When I do that, I feel really strong and centered. The day before, 2 days ago from this video, I was on the top of the Tongariro crossing in the middle of the North Island, enjoying nature. The cold, the heat, the warmth, the rain, the wind. And I came off that mountain feeling so good because, one, it's my Turanga Waiwai, which is my place of strength, but two, I'm in nature. I'm in nature, the full force of nature. Now, you live in our modern world. Now, the reason why I think nature is important, I'll hopefully describe a bit of the reasons why I think nature is important. But if you look at our modern world, we're removing ourselves further and further from nature. We live in cities, and there's going to be more and more laws coming about which require us to live in cities, and we'll have more and more natural spots, nature spots on the planet, which is all good. It's just one way of living. For me, I need to be in nature. My preference is to live in a rural environment where I can be able to walk outside and see the stars at night. I can walk outside and feel the wind. I can walk outside in bare feet and go on the grass. That's the stuff I need to be healthy. The rhythms of the earth, the meridians of your body, the polarities, all that sort of stuff is important. I don't know the science behind it, but I know what it's done for me is made me feel a lot better. I feel healthier and happier when I connect with the earth. When I extract or remove myself from the earth, I don't feel that harmony. And it's not really anything you put your finger on, something just feels off. It doesn't quite feel right, but when I'm in harmony like I am now, it just works. I just feel good, chilled out and good. Yeah. So nature. Find what works for you in terms of getting into nature. If you're going through a chronic illness, I suggest you get into nature as much as possible. The fresh air from being outside is important. Now, I'm lucky because I live in a country where we have lots of clean air, but we have our own pollution problems here. But if you can get out and breathe fresh air, go to a park, sit beside a tree, hug a tree. It's all going to help. The science behind trees and their effect on the human being is becoming clearer and more mainstream. We should be in our trees. We should be in nature more and more. So, if you've got chronic diseases or some sort of illness or ailment or injury, one of the biggest things we can do to heal, in my opinion, is be in this nature. But when you're there, be calm with her. Listen to her. Sit and just take gentle breaths. Close your eyes and just take gentle breaths. Listen to the ocean lapping against the water with sand. For us here in New Zealand, we have cicadas in the trees. Listen to the helicopters that fly over when you're trying to do a video. Listen to the tree leaves rustling in the breeze. Feel that breeze upon you. And as you do that more and more, you'll start to feel the connection with the earth. You'll start to feel that energy flowing through your body. That's healing. That's not what you get taught or suggested when you go into a mainstream medical institution. Not a criticism, I just think it's a big missing, failing, I guess, of the system. It's very much a process to get you in and out. But we're missing the essence of being a human being in our own life, in our own energy fields, in our own existence. We are meant to be human beings, not human doings. And healing is more than just medication and surgery. Healing requires the soul to heal. One of the journeys that people have when they are diagnosed with cancer is the fear comes into them, and this will be another video for me, is the fear of dying. I don't believe you can make a good decision around that when you're sitting inside a building or in a mind that's busy or stressed because of the environment around you. You need to go and sit quietly. This is my recommendation, my experience. You sit quietly with nature for weeks and weeks and just process that thought. Or hours could be, you might get input the thought, but you sit in nature, sitting quietly, and let that process thought, that thought of dying, what we're about to head into with your journey, and just sit with it. Just sit with it and let it come to you. Don't try and force it, let it come to you, because that's when you make the right decisions. And you make the decisions that are yours, not somebody else's, the ones that are yours. It's your life, you choose. Don't be in fear. Live with your decision because it's your truth. Nature helps us find our truths. So anyway, that's enough for me today on nature. As nature moves around me, it's who we are. You wonder why guys want to go hunting, because they want to be in nature. You wonder why people go hiking, because they want to be in nature. Why do people want to go diving, free diving in the ocean? Because they want to be in nature, because without even knowing logically with the brain and rational mind, being out there brings them a level of sincerity, a level of integrity, a level of being that they can't experience in their day-to-day life. That's why people climb mountains. That's why you want to go and sit in the park. That's why when you want to have a lunch and a picnic, you want to find a nice spot, because there's beauty in it. Beauty in it. So go and be in that beauty. Follow your heart, follow your joy, and live. So that's me for today. Be well. Ka kite. This is me trying to be more connected to the indigenous race of New Zealand, the Māori. So anyway, ka kite. Farewell for now. See you later. Bye-bye.